lot about spaceships.
Oh, hello. I'm Jason Moore from MakingStarWars.net. We are not actually from Finland. That's a rumor and a thing that's been going on with our Melon streaming service that makes us from Finland every time. Oh, hey, what's up, Rob? What are you doing there?
Getting ready for my High Republic reviews.
Oh, really?
Posing properly for the High Republic.
For the High Republic. Isn't it more like...
For the snooty side. For the snooty side.
Hey, man, you know what would be cool? If we started wearing brown robes and like you changed your name to Hindu.
We should all wear white robes and put on Wonder Woman bracelets. And then we're all going to look cool, man. Can't wait.
Yeah.
We're all look like the Macho King, man. The Macho King was,
Well, we got someone from Peru.
I do want the Macho King now as a Jedi Master. Fuck it. You know, like if you get your High Republic, I get my Macho King Jedi Warrior. All right? And Scary Sherry Martell as his Padawan.
Good afternoon, Star Wars Santa. How are you?
Turns out Dracula and Santa are friends. Because Santa comes in around midnight and Dracula's always up. So he's the one time a buddy comes over.
Before this episode, because we're going to be talking about Chloé Zhao, I was like, am I saying her name even close to correct? And I went on to this YouTube video, and the YouTube video is like, I'm not even kidding. You cancel me for this. I don't care. It's like, if you want to know how to say this last name, you must say Zhao. And I'm like, what? And it's like Zhao, but if you are American, it is Zhao. And I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm good. But I have no idea. I could not do it whatsoever.
There's a difference between being respectful and being incompetent. All right. Mm-hmm. Like, and speaking languages in which you don't really get this, you're really going to go for learning Mandarin in general. Right.
Yeah.
And you're going to pull the, looks like Ernest. What's his face? You know, he's a guy who should be the son of Ernest, John Cena. Right. Like John Cena can speak fluent, but you need to spend several years before you start walking around public television because they'll just learn one word and then look like a fucking idiot, you know?
Yeah. So. I was just like curious, but no, like literally when I watched the YouTube video, I was just like, whoa, out of my capabilities here. But
you sound like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon from 1969. You know?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
but they're like, oh yeah, but if you're an English speaker, you're probably just going to say Zhao. But the guy's voice does sound like it's about to probably take you to that space station from Last Starfighter. You know, like I expected him to start going, "Now you have arrived, because you are the last Starfighter," something like that.
When Alex Rogan, no relation to famed scientist Joe Rogan, when he gets to in processing on the Starfighter base, right on that moon, I just felt like the first time I went to Star Tours, they had watched that sequence verbatim when he gets the clothes and he's sitting down with all the group of people. Because you watch that video on Star Tours about, I know it's a reference to boarding flight videos back in the day, but to me, it felt more Last Starfighter than that.
It definitely has that same sensibility. And I would imagine that it like the cats who got Star Tours into production probably saw that movie quite a few times. I mean, how could you?
Also, probably the last time we'll see a Star Wars character smoking, right? Like Star Tours, like
and Deke, you know, the character from Battle for Endor. He's in there. He's like, yeah, I'm ready to go fly.
That's right.
It's pretty funny because you know, being a big Hollywood guy as such as I am. I'm kidding. But whenever I go to Star Tours with like friends, I've had enough friends who've taken acting classes that, no joke, 3 different friends I have been in line to ride Star Tours with and have said, oh shit, it's my acting coach. And they're just the people sitting in the Star Speeder 3000, and it's not the same person. There's at least 3 different acting coaches in there. which is pretty amazing.
Hey man, work is work.
Oh no, no, I'm
Yeah.
not, I'm not knocking it, but
I know a lot of people that rather than going through acting coaches, they just took jobs at Universal Studios, Harry Potter, because you have to be in character the whole time.
yeah,
And that really helped them get through just always being in character. Like it was like get paid to method act. You know what I mean? Something you're not particularly emotionally tied to, probably,
yeah.
against the worst reviewers possible. But everyone's trying to mess you up like you're one of those London guards with the big woolly hats, like
Dude, I actually like it is it's kind of I don't know. Violating isn't the right word, but like when you just like go into Galaxy's Edge and you just want your kids just to shut the fuck up for a second and you just want to like breathe for a minute and somebody
yeah.
comes up and they're all, "Oh, hey, governor, the first order sure is causing some problems here." And you're like, "Yeah, okay, dude." And then he's like, "Oh, what are we gonna do about this Sith that might be coming back?" And you're just like, "Just leave me alone, man. I just want to put the macaroni and cheese in the kid's mouth." "Oh, geez, I want to know what the Millennium Falcon's doing here at old Batu." And they just don't, and they change like 4 accents during the course of it. And you're just like, "Please stop."
Yeah, what we have here is a cultist quarter moving in robes and sheets and taking people by the skins of their heads in the middle of the night. What are we gonna do about it? And you're like, fucking.
And then by the end of it, though, they're like, "Now we must help Zhao." And you're like, "Well, your accent keeps changing. Stop."
You're
changing.
like, actually, it's Zul, and then you do the accent, and they're like, yeah. 3 other cats are like, what's up? What's up?
Yeah. 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 No, it's definitely has its moments, like when the kids are in a good mood, but mostly my kids look at them sideways, like, "What is your deal?" I guess I just don't have those kind of kids, thankfully.
Yeah.
Probably want to throw them in a bag and leave them on the freeway if that was the case. Those kids suck. I'm not gonna lie. I go to Disneyland sometimes in the past, and I'm like, those kids suck. My kids are at least pretty sensible, but
I mean, Disneyland's always had everyone stay in character, right? Like when you meet the chick playing Cinderella, right? She's
yeah,
not like, yeah, I can't wait to get on my smoking break. Like
yeah.
it's like
That would
they always
be cool though. I'll be like, "Hey, you from the High Republic role player?" I'm sorry,
but the upside was the majority.
Mhm.
1 second.
Yeah, the majority is the fact of the matter. Oh, look at him! I saw him touch that girl. I saw him touch that server. Did you guys see that?
That's how I got my coffee. That's how you work here at Mel's Diner, bro. You got to give a little to get a little.
That is
What was I saying?
the advantage to being married to a covert lizard person. She's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but I know I see.
Hey man, V
between the lines.
affected me in all sorts of ways when I was a
Remember
kid,
that
so.
baby? Remember that baby was born in V?
Bro.
Yeah.
I'll get to a V story in 1 second. I want to finish what I was saying. But what I was saying was, at least in old Disney, most of the characters were giant, like cartoon plastic heads, and they wouldn't talk.
Yeah.
So you just get this like acting, like even
Yeah.
Captain Hook would just come up and be like, now everyone's like, what we have here is a problem with the First Order. You're just like, well, I hear High Republic woes are on the way. It's just like, shit, man, you're all gonna be wearing white. I hope you don't get those robes dirty, fuckers. Like, I mean, that'll be my favorite part about this whole High Republic stuff, man, is they're gonna have to get dirty, right? Like, because that was the thing, like in Rise of Skywalker, like Rey's robes ain't getting too dirty. She's running around the desert, bro. I'm like, all right, watch a bunch of.
I don't think it's as big of a problem. I mean, like Luke
I think it's
Skywalker-
gonna be fun to watch. Like,
no, I really think that they will find ways. The filmmakers who are making it will find ways to either make more costumes, alternate costumes, or put them in different things. They won't have their hands tied by that. I don't know. I don't want to call it a LARP, but that RPG. It's an RPG session that's being published.
It really feels to me like something that they would have conjured up in the mid 90s, say before episode 1, right? exclusively for Star Tours by WED. You know what I mean? Like it's like a theme park like idea that keeps it real simple. So everyone in the park understands these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. Like when they used to have the kids come up in the concert area and do the Jedi thing, and you're like, it's annoying, man. But the kids love it.
I did like it when C-3PO twerked though. That was hot.
So my V story was, V was a big deal in the 80s. It was this big like movie event on TV.
Donovan is why I do what I do today. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Right. And I guess the whole idea of aliens coming to LA and taking over was, now that I look at it, I'm like pretty much xenophobic towards the border crisis.
No, it was an allegory for the Holocaust.
Right, but my uncles thought that shit was about Mexicans, dude. Like let me tell you what racist America saw, right, versus what it was really about. It was really about these Nazis, these space Nazis that had lizards. They were lizards with human skins covering their faces, so they would peel off.
Dated a Mexican lady and had a taco, they would realize it's the superior culture. I mean, if I had to go like one place, if it was this or that, I'd be like, I'm gonna go with the tacos and the Mexican ladies because.
I lived off coconuts for weeks when I was a kid. They hate it. I loved it. Anyway, I loved it because you just cut them. It's food. You don't have to do anything. It's like nature provided all. And so this big event, I was looking forward to as a kid.
And be like, I'm a little girly.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it as a kid, man. My parents were like, you can go watch it. So I sat down. I'm sitting there watching the whole thing. And it was the first time.
Wait! Like fucking Gilligan with the fucking coconut and a straw going.
Yeah. Bro, we had just got Hispanic. We got taquitos too. I had some taquitos, and so I'm like, this is great. And it's the first time she ate a rat. She eats these live rats because they're snakes, right? Essentially underneath. And it freaked me out. And so I run over because I'm like 4, man. So I run into the back to go see my parents. I open the door and guess what they're doing?
Eating rats?
Making a little brother, and I was screaming, bro, full on, just, and they stopped, and I was like, ah! So I had the eating the live rats, and my parents doing whatever the hell that was, and then I just ran back traumatized.
And then you saw the baby from V born a little bit later. And
I did not get through the rest of that show.
You're like, no.
They were ripped. I did not get through the rest of that. I was like, I didn't care much for the scene in Beverly Hills Cop when he's walking by the dude in the V outfit, like laughing. I was like, it just reminds me of my parents doing it. Like I don't.
Yeah, I'm still haunted by the time I went to see Batman, and then we couldn't go because the guy had a heart attack in the theater. It was in Palm Springs.
Oh,
and
wow.
I come back and from with my friend, I'm dropped off, and I go home, and my mom lived with her boyfriend, but her boyfriend was one-legged, and they never told me. They kept it a secret that he only had one leg. I don't know why, but you ever seen a one-legged man railing your mom when you thought you were going to be seeing Batman instead? Oh yeah.
Feels like a Dick Tracy villain.
Now here I am. And but anyways, so the news of the day, because I'm sure that's why we're here, really, supposedly.
And just go to the news, just talk about it, turn the fucking show off,
So look, she has two C-3POs in her hand, which is, I think, her telling us, I'm making Star Wars. You know what I mean? I think that's all that it really could mean. I don't know. Do we want to know?
She's fantastic hair, by the way. I wish I had hair like that.
That's pretty cool. It's like either really wholesome or like she's about to start singing for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which I kind of appreciate. So, One Take News, who are the cat who got the Boba Fett trailer correct. So once again, I think that is important. Also, I'm not going to point anything out, but man, have you guys noticed the amount of co-opting going on the last couple of days? It's like somebody will go do all the work on a story, and then someone else will come along and go, oh yeah, me too. It's just like, I mean, I
yeah, but for whole other reasons, you know.
yeah, lack of talent mostly. But the very talented One Take News writes, we vetted the story out to as many sources as possible, and based on that, One Take News can exclusively report that Chloe Zhao, I can't say it right, is
Don't.
Zhao.
It
I
sounds
know.
like you're being racist.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, it does. If people aren't gonna get the sincerity, bro, like we do,
I only hate English people. I only hate English people, just to be clear. Like, mostly British people.
Bro, do you understand? My buddy Fabian's from the UK, and I to this day cannot understand how the motherfucker eats beans.
Oh man, see what happens. We got canceled.
You mess with the British, they cut us out, man.
They're canceling us. They're canceling
Dude
me.
eats beans for breakfast, man. I can't believe it. Like,
So no. Anyways, Chloé Zhao, which
right.
I'm just going to go with the American pronunciation because I cannot do the right way. Either way, sources told us she was always a top choice for Feige, and it's only a matter of time before it's a done deal.
Didn't I talk about that months ago?
Probably.
Yeah, I did. When we were
well, this
back in July, August. But
yeah, I remember it like she was dropping hints during early Eternals stuff, and everybody pretty much figured it out. And
right,
if this wasn't One Take News saying it after what they have recently said, I would honestly eye roll the story. But the fact that if they're like, oh, the Boba trailer's coming, and then it came, and then they say this, I'm willing to like take what they're saying here with some seriousness to it as being a real possibility, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Unlike, you know what I mean? But I mean, like, honestly, and if it wasn't for that, like, there's stuff like it says, like, some sources say she's already signed on. So that right there is good. You know what I mean? But then, like, early on, they say that she's like close to signing. And so that kind of stuff right there makes me go like, well, okay. I mean, that's like, what is it? Because for what it's worth, when it comes to that kind of jazz, like, people will come on and they haven't signed a fucking thing, and like work will be commencing and moving forward with development. I mean, I jumped the gun on accident and released that what's his name was Pedro Pascal was the Mandalorian before he'd actually signed on, which led to a lot of headaches for me. But it
was even shooting in the series while they were making it.
Yeah,
really weird. You know,
yeah.
Like it is the strangest. It's one of the strangest. Could you imagine casting Batman, but they're shooting Batman, but the guy who you're certain is playing the role still isn't signed yet? They just found someone else doing Batman in the movie. That is the oddest.
Yes.
I still don't know how that works out. Like how that is weird. So weird.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, Eternals is a mixed bag for people, right?
Is it? So, I mean, I haven't seen it. I don't even know what a fucking Eternal is, to be honest with you, and I don't even know if I really care, other than the fact that she might be making a Star Wars film now.
It's an exposition like thing. It's like the movie starts with a wall of text, you know, a lot of reading, setting things up. And I'm like, the only movie that's ever successfully pulled that off is Star Wars, you know. Yeah. And it isn't the world building. It doesn't let you know. And the Emperor, like the in the novelization of Star Wars, A New Hope, bro. Yeah. It says the opening. The opening set up more of the world building of like the Emperor and the Republic fell and the Emperor took over. But if that were in the theater, man, it'd be hard because you're hearing about a bunch of characters. I don't know, man, like a high level stuff that you can't relate to. Yeah. So it's a lot of that, and that's not Chloé Zhao's fault. That's just the direction Marvel took that series. So one would hope that if whoever's directing the next film, especially if it's Chloé Zhao, that we get a little bit more of a personal journey and less of a. I mean, look, I like the world building, and in a way, people go, the sequel trilogy was all personal, no world building. I'm like, what personal story? There's very little personal story there. Like, the personal journey was really Ben Solo's sort of, but Rey's still. My parents abandoned me. They kind of didn't. I don't know. Like at the end of the day, I don't know. I just hope that the characters feel relatable. That's my
Mhm.
only hope. And even with Lucas, I always felt like just let them feel relatable. Luke was relatable. Han was relatable. Leia, sort of, but her personality, like Carrie Fisher's, like,
Yeah.
motherfuckers, like, like talking up to fucking authority figures and not giving a
Yeah.
shit. That's relatable. Like, yeah, I like it. So
I
that sort
mean,
of thing.
everyone I've ever talked to who works in Hollywood, who when they're being like legit, when they're not being pretentious and full of shit, always just pretty much chalks it up to you never know what you're gonna get.
No, they
You can't
don't. They
you
don't.
you really can't. I mean, you would have to make a movie 3 or 4 times
But in the
to probably
script,
get it perfect. Yeah.
in the script, if the
Oh,
majority of your
sure.
script is the opening to Lord of the Rings, where you're constantly telling people about world building and stuff, that's complicated stuff to follow, and
Oh,
it's
it's boring
it's
as fuck.
not fun. That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
2.5 hours of that stuff, So people go, I like it's high science fiction. That's the kind of science fiction that I'm like, yeah. I mean, even Blade Runner. The original Blade Runner has a wall of text, and man, and especially when you're in the theater, you're like,
Yeah, I swear to God, it's not a hot take. I'm not trying to have a hot take. I
yeah,
cannot connect to Blade Runner.
no,
I want to. I want to. You know what I mean?
no.
And I like the genre. I like the actors. I like the themes. But when I watch it as a movie, I just can. There's something about the movie I just cannot like. It does its job too well. Maybe you know what I mean? And
No,
like
part of that is Ridley Scott. I mean, Ridley Scott makes these distinctly two kinds of films, really.
yeah.
One is these type of films that are where
Mhm.
you're removed from really, like, the characters aren't approachable, they aren't touchable. I don't know how to describe it. There's this removal of connection to the material, and everything looks pretty, but you don't feel anything that's going on. You don't. He does this, and then he flips and does like Thelma and Louise, where it's the total opposite, where
Yeah.
it's like, like he is a odd thing, like the Robin Hood movie he did with Russell Crowe, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
like it's actually less Robin Hood and more like the history of the Magna Carta, but fantastic cinematography, great performances. I just can't relate to any fucking person in the film on
Kevin
any
Costner
level.
is Robin Hood. I don't care what anybody says.
So, well, no, Corey Yules is Robin Hood. Kevin Costner's Tin
Kevin
Cup
Costner is
Hood.
Robin Hood.
No, Robin Hood,
Yeah.
Men in Tights is the better film.
No.
So
Men in Tights is great.
it's
It's
fantastic.
not fair for you to hold those up against one another and put me in that position in front of people.
Yeah, Corey Yule, Carrie Yules, whatever his name is, man, the
Mhm.
Princess Bride dude. That's the man. That's the Robin Hood for me. Always wanted that Robin Hood to show up in a Three Musketeers sequel, the one with Charlie Sheen and Robin. The real Frenchy one. Yeah,
Emilio
whatever.
Estevez has long COVID, so we're not getting young guns, right? Was
Well,
that the
he's
takeaway?
he's now on a PR tour saying he's not anti-vax. Has long COVID, and since he admitted it, then I don't know, man. It seems like a clusterfuck. So
Yeah.
at the end of the story, he does have long COVID, which sucks.
At the end of the day, Mighty Ducks sucks. Who cares about that shit? Get the young guns already.
Bro, you missed the cartoon. The Mighty Ducks cartoon was where it was at. They all look like they all had those hockey mats or a hockey. They were the actual ducks.
Do they kill people?
Man, that's the one thing I was like. Now they go out at night and they fight crime and shit. They have,
Oh,
yeah,
they should have killed
sure.
people. They
They're
should
like
have.
vigilantes, but
It would have been cool if they were like all killers, but one of them was like Keanu Reeves in Point Break, and he was trying to find out like which one's the killer, but they all are the killers. I don't know. It would have
You've been
sounded.
watching Scream, so like, so whatever. Look, I'm it's hard to get excited about a director announcement coming from Lucasfilm. Like, I'll believe it when cameras are rolling.
Mhm.
At this point, like,
Well, I was talking to Bespin today, and we were like going back and forth. We were talking about how like what's on Taika Waititi's slate and all that stuff. And I brought up the point. I was like, I'm pretty sure when they sign these contracts, like whatever comes before is kind of what takes precedence. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if if Warner Brothers says we're making Wonder Woman, she's going to have to go do it, and they were aware of that. I wouldn't be surprised if that was at least on the table. And but with that in mind, Taika has a lot of shit coming his way that he has to do. Bespin laid it all out. I'm like, yeah, that is a lot. And so my whole take is until it's filming, it might not happen. Until it's
Yeah.
filming, like don't count your chickens before they hatch kind of deal.
Well, when he made a big announcement the other day about doing Jodorowsky and Mobius's comic, was it Inkal?
Mhm.
I was like, that's a bad thing to be announcing the week before Disney Plus. Like again, that's one of those little bits where I'm like, well, Rob, that's years away. I'm like, yeah, maybe it is. I don't.
Yeah.
You don't know what is being announced to take away from. Well, how come you weren't at the thing and we never heard anything from you? Like reading between the lines, kid. Some things go away. I mean, he was supposed to be doing that Wonka series for Netflix, right? I think that ain't happening. So
There
like,
was there was a bunch of shit on there. I was like,
so
whoa.
who knows, man?
Yeah. I wish Hodorowski was making Hodorowski's thing, to be
I
honest with you though.
look, yeah. Well, I wish it were animated and looked like Mobius's art, but here we go. Like
Yeah.
apparently he was a big fan. I mean, European comics are amazing. I'm a huge fan of them. Hard for American audiences to get them half the material. Very
Yeah.
hard. I mean, the most one of the I mean, like when Tintin came out, right? It was like that should have been the one to kind of start, and that even didn't.
Yeah.
Good movie too, solid
Um
film. So
if you when you watch the Mortis arc of Clone Wars one of these days, that is in all of the looks and designs is the Star Wars Clone Wars take on Mobius on his style, stuff like
well,
that.
that was a huge influence in the start of the production for Blade Runner. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Hampton Fancher and everyone on that. There's a documentary for Blade Runner that came out called Dangerous Days
Mm-hmm.
that they put out when they did the big re-release of the definitive edition.
Yeah.
I always recommend watching Dangerous Days more than watching the movie. Like
Mhm.
that is a great documentary, but Jean Girard, Mobius, that whole that was the aesthetic that Ridley Scott sort of brought to the project when he came on board, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, it's amazing."
Yeah,
So
it doesn't seem like we in turn. Maybe this will be it. Maybe Taika's going to do that. But if I feel like no one's really captured that, like what Heavy Metal magazine had going on, like for years, like especially like in its prime. No one's really captured that in CGI, like in a great way. You know what I mean?
I
Like in an
I
effective.
had hoped that like Sucker Punch would have been that thing. Like it seemed that when I first saw the trailer for the first trailer for Sucker Punch, I'm like, this is very heavy metal. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I could easily see him working in some crazy sleek sci-fi thing in between each one of these visions,
Right.
like an anthology story, but each instead of a separate anthology, it's just the viewpoint of each different crazy person, right?
Mhm.
Like there's something there to that. It's just old crazy Snyder,
Yeah.
Coke blown hair Snyder, Uber ripped, Bezos ripped Snyder just wrote the script, but
Um,
yeah, I think it can be fantastic. It's just, I mean, if anyone's gonna do it, Taika's gonna do it, right? So,
yeah. Bespin Bulletin
oh,
had a pretty cool thing yesterday. It came out after our show, so we couldn't get to it until now. But basically, like this dude right here, he peeks out, and they got a pretty good photo of him. And for what it's worth, like when Bestman and I were talking about this, we're like going back and forth, and I was like, well, up front, there's like 75 of these dudes coming in the season, and I've seen this armor set piece before. And at first I was like, it's probably just a stunt man. But then as I looked at the photos, I'm like, that's some really good hair. And
right.
makes me think, no, that's definitely
It's the burns too. If those sideburns are to be believed, those are Star Wars sideburns.
yeah, yeah. So I would definitely say it's an actor who removes their head, but it apparently in my mind anyways, based off of what I know and seen, I believe this stuff is connected to that scoop that I had a while ago, a week or two ago now, about how all of those Mandos are coming in together, and oh, Hey, our buddy at Fandom Empire just messaged me. Should I read what you sent me just now? On here, or should I not? Let me know, and I will. But yeah, wait, but so anyways, yeah, he's okay. But the what one of the things. So okay, wait, okay, hold on. Let me read what he said. I'm reading too much all at once live. Hey fellas, keep up the great work. Jason, I just sent you a message on Messenger about the 2023 film. 100% believe that there's fire where there's smoke coming from. Keep it up, fellas. Yeah. I mean, we are um we were talking a few days ago. We were going back and forth, and we're like, yeah. I mean, I was just like, what sucks is there definitely seems to be legit shit going on here, but the co-opting by fakers makes it really hard to take it all seriously. The one thing about the Old Republic being a film and the High Republic, I mean, like when I did my video like in 2019 about the High Republic, I wasn't wrong for like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying fandom was saying that, but I'm saying I did a video in 2019, like that was supposed to be the next film saga coming out, and things kept. I have a feeling that one at the time didn't come to fruition in that way because they wanted more development. They didn't want another sequel trilogy problem. And then you started to see, then the pandemic happens, and then you have ideas like, you know what, a one-off Rogue Squadron film, that's a buffer, and people want it. We would satiate, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff starts to like take precedence, basically. And but I haven't really got to comprehend your message, so I'm going to read it live on air. So hear me out. Not sure if you're a wrestling guy. Not in the modern sense. I mean, I like my ravishing Rick Rudes, my Roddy Pipers, you know, but not in a modern sense. I'm not a big wrestling guy, but I do love CM Punk. This is going somewhere, I promise. So when CM Punk was promoting his show Heels with Stephen Amell, he mentioned during multiple media availability that his friend, also the guy behind Heels, Michael Waldron, is doing the next Star Wars movie. Not a Star Wars movie, the next Star Wars movie. I always just assumed Waldron was involved with Rogue Squadron on some level, but it turns out, due to my own oversight, Waldron has been involved with the Feige film for a bit. Yeah, the Feige film thing has been known. I think when you look at the reports you've run in the big screen leaks and the Making Star Wars stuff and what we've heard here at Fandom Empire, I don't think it's a leap to assume that Waldron written film is now the Zhao film. Yeah, you are completely
And that's
100% right about the Feige Waldron connection.
right. And regardless of what era it's set in, ultimately, guys, I could ultimately give two shits less. It's Waldron writing that I'm interested in.
Same.
Because Loki dealt with all that high level stuff in a very personal way.
Yeah.
You know, it had the high level stuff, but it had the personal story. And I thought that got it. You know, like the whole crew on that series got that idea. So my hope would be that if a lesson is learned from the Eternals is make certain that these Jedi are relatable, because if we go through another trilogy of or even one more movie with a bunch of Jedi are sitting around doing this and having snooty conversations, like, man, it's the least interesting part of the prequels was the Jedi Order, you know.
A turtle.
The turtle.
I like that part.
I know. Yeah, man, woman, turtle, whatever. So, but the least interesting part was the Jedi stuff that made it to screen. The concept art for the Jedi were interesting. Just when George was like, they're boring. Like, I can see you find them. It should. I don't want to. That was hard to defend. I was a defender. And they were like, really, man? I'm like, look, dude, I mean, I guess.
What if I told you Chapa Chow means fuck your mother?
Problem is, people asking me this from my superiors in the military, so I couldn't do jokes like, you had to like, you're right, it sucks hard. You know what I mean? Like, fucking whatever. Go play Razor. Play my Razor.
I'm gonna call them out on their stolen valor. So
Yeah, well, look, I mean, we really so how do I say this?
Zhao, it's Zhao. I looked it up.
No, that's not what I'm worried about. I'm so we are to assume at this point, like that would be the movie that takes the 2023 spot. Then
I mean, it's completely possible. I don't want to throw in on what it's going to be because I really don't know. The one thing that one thing I do know is because I hear names. I know sometimes about what's been handed over in terms of like specs and stuff like that. And if like let's just pretend the shit hit the fan today and Disney was about to go out of business and they just had to start making shit go bells and whistles everywhere. I think they could have like 15 Star Wars movies in production this year if they needed to. I don't like people kind of I just think like really they only go with what they know about and then they assume that it means that it that's all that there is. All there is it's like the a Republic an old Republic movie isn't in any way like officially new news. It moving forward being greenlit would be completely big new news. But everything else those things
because I don't see Chloe Zhao doing a whole movie in the volume in Manhattan Beach. She just doesn't seem to. If
I don't
anything,
know.
Feige was crowing about the Eternals
like that. I don't know. I just
yeah, she shot everywhere on location. And his whole thing was that look, it was amazing. She actually shot real water, and that's I'm being a dick, right? But she's shooting at an ocean versus a bunch of plate photography
you
being
know what they
inserted
say?
over.
They say Zhao, don't tell.
Yeah,
Go on.
it's good.
Thank
It's
you.
good. I got nothing to add to that. So, but that's what she does. She,
Yeah.
you know, that. So the movie being primarily shot in Manhattan Beach is just something I don't see being part of that production.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, I would throw out there to because fandom writes back and says to be clear, I'm saying there's a fairly good chance the Waldron written film is next. Not sure if that means 2023, but that would be my guess. And see,
Right.
and yeah, and I'm on the same page as you. Is like I wouldn't be surprised, but I also just I don't know
Because
I don't know if they figured it out to some extent is the kind of the where
right,
I'm at.
which is when that big Marvel shuffle happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get that shuffle. You can't forget. This is all somehow connected, Walter. It's all to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all connected. It really is. And so, it stops right at that 2023 mark because let's say they have nothing, and they're like, well, we'll just put out another Disney Plus series. You know, we'll crank one through production and get it out for that Christmas. Well, you're not going to put a Star Wars movie against Avatar 2 in 2024. That's that 2025 slot you move back to. All right, that means you need to either start putting a Star Wars movie back out in May to cover the diff,
Yeah.
or Rogue Squadron's coming out 2027. You catch my drift? Like that's, or Rogue Squadron is canceled and eventually becomes a series. Like I don't.
Big screen leaks after our show yesterday. I meant to bring it up, but then all this other shit happened and all the fakery do was going on. And so I was like, ah. But Big Screen Leaks did a tweet yesterday before or after the show. And in it, they were like, just to be like clarify, I'm paraphrasing poorly. They're like, there were problems in the production with it. It wasn't just like a scheduling thing. Like it sounded like people like something like along the lines of probably people weren't happy about something on either side. And it wasn't moving forward at a good enough speed for that reason. And that's probably a big factor at play. And if that is true, I think we probably end up in a situation where they end up moving forward with somebody else.
You want to know if I had to, if I'll just, obviously it's fan math, right? So 99% wrong. But if there is a creative difference right?
Yeah.
In this series, in this film, I would put money down easily on one person wants a force user in that cockpit and one person doesn't.
Hmm.
You know,
Something like that. Yeah.
that's it. Because that again, the Rogue Squadron movie just it's that same argument that when they were making Jedi Fallen Order over at that game studio,
Yeah.
Lucas not arts but film was kept
Just,
pushing like, does it have to be Jedi? Can it be blasters? Can it be anything but and it's just like, yeah, no.
they're like, we like the title, but what if he ordered pizza and the pizza fell, and that's the
Yeah,
Fallen Order,
yeah,
and
it's
that's
like
what
it's
stopped
like a
the whole
mini game
thing.
where you catch the food in Dexter's Diner, like like PopCap. Can you do it like PopCap? Like
Yeah.
love those games.
No, I do. I mean, to some extent, though, I do appreciate and like them being a bit guarded with using Jedi in certain areas, in certain eras of stuff, because like when you when you look at like the if it was a reality, you could like literally have 1,000 Jedi at the time, and that isn't shit to a galaxy with trillions and trillions of things in this endless imagined universe. But at the end of the day, it's like the old thing with the Adawan version of A New Hope, when he says there's 30 ships left, but they only show 6. That's a visual idea versus a textual idea. So when you have Luke and you have Ezra and you have all of this stuff, then it eventually comes, it's like, well, let's just go kick the Emperor's ass. Like, what are
Throw
we
Addy
doing
Wad under the
here?
bus for this. Like.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Though? But no,
Yeah, but it looked cool, So it's not you're talking about a movie in which the original creator changed a million things that didn't need to be changed. So
no, what I'm talking
I
about
hear what you're saying,
is
but yeah,
actual reality versus
I know.
a very simple visual language idea. And
And I'm getting mired in semantics. That's my thing. So.
yeah, but if we get too many, then we do end up like, why doesn't Cal, and why doesn't Cal Kestis or
But the way I'm thinking about it, Jason, right?
yeah,
I'm the guy who's like, I want Star Wars stories without Jedi. I'm fine with that. However, when people go to the movie theater, the big experience, and it says Star Wars and there's no lightsaber in there, you get Han Solo results. I'm telling you right now.
no,
Like
I know, no, there
that
are
is
people who
the majority of the world expects to see that in a Star Wars film, or that ain't a Star Wars film to them. Like
and I
that's
and I actually thought, in the big picture, in the macro release of everything, where you have Last Jedi that is completely about that world, and then you have Solo not, I thought that was an actual good alchemy to be released in proximity to
sure.
one another. But what you ended up having was, you ended up seeing fans who were like, I am all about the spiritual Star Wars stuff, and this just doesn't work for me at all.
Well,
And
it can still be unspiritual. It can be Solo, but the bad guy has to be like an Inquisitor or something. There has to be a lightsaber in there at some point, like Rogue
yeah,
One. There has to be. Everyone goes about the Vader's the saber, but they go to Jeddah. That you see the giant statues, people, human people believing in the Force when they're, not really Force users. So it's like it just needs that element for the mass public. Series on TV, fine, where the stakes are lower and you don't have $300 million marketing budgets.
yes.
Like the problem is how expensive it is to market a major motion picture.
Yeah,
And all the complexities.
and that's one of the reasons why I think you have the Disney Plus side being additionally attractive,
Right.
because it's like, it kind of promotes itself to some extent. Most of the promotion they end up getting is free. And but yeah, I wanted to promote two things really quickly. And the first is Fandom Empire. They have a new Star Wars YouTube channel, so Star Wars Fandom. So make sure you guys go and subscribe to that and check it out. And I hope they will come and hang out with us, and we can do the same with them. And the other side is our buddy Revenge Guy, who's another YouTuber. He's fallen on some pretty like tough times, and is trying to kind of evade homelessness and things like that. And Revenge Guy is going to be selling some shirts based off of his channel. So when they are up on the store, by all means, pick them up. He just made a new page And when I'm going to it, it looks like it's been taken down, even though he didn't do anything copyrighted. I was hoping to throw that up right now, but when those shirts go up, make sure you check it out and follow Revenge Guy and see what's up with that, because we don't want anybody to have to deal with that kind of shit, you know. And if we could help, we want to. But anyways, yeah. So, oh yeah, and good job, Bespin, on getting a photo of that Mando. That was right.
super awesome.
I didn't mean to just
He
like
almost
story, but
it's almost Jeremy Bulloch like too, the actor, right? A little bit more like it'd be fun to get if they could be great to get Bullock's like likeness and put him on one of the Mandos just to finally get him on screen, you know? Like since they replaced his entire work.
Yeah. Well, he's still in the suit. He's still in the suit. But yeah, I follow you. Yeah, in terms of like I don't want to jump in too hard on things, but like yesterday when we were talking about like stuff about like Sith, you know, I was trying to talk about Revan and like his legacy, because like Revan ends up in this like story, in his bigger legend story, where this emperor is basically siphoning power off of him for like 300 years, and they kind of end up in a weird dyad situation where he is basically vampiring him, but it kind of works like a negative and positive kind of thing, and he's able to live like 300 years in this prison where he's keeping this dude alive, and then he comes back. And anyways, I kind of don't want to go too far out on things, but when I've heard about like Revan and stuff like that, that kind of thing has always been something that was guiding their hand. Mm-hmm. And that was why yesterday, when I was talking about my old scoop from 2019 about the High Republic film, is that I was throwing it out there that I'm pretty sure that if those eras are going to be linked together and that it's through Revan. And I would not be surprised if that's why you saw the Sith stuff on Exegol, why it was included, and also how we're going to explain the Sith army in episode 9. Like at one point he does have a frozen carbonite. He freezes a fucking army of Sith warriors, and for whatever,
it wasn't a Sith army. There was a bunch of druids. They didn't fight.
Yeah, that was the idea. What the idea at one point?
Well,
the idea was that was on Exegol where they get the fucking people from. Okay, we see that
in the film. They don't do anything. They're literally
the film
disconnected. There's a shot of a bunch of druids, and then they never come down. Let's help our boy. They don't do it.
No, those are just Sith cultists in there. I'm not. Though that's not even. They don't even actually do it. In fact, I watched episode 9 the other day for my Star Wars Santa show thing where we were breaking down episode 9, the themes of it, and one thing that I took to be Imperial drivel as pride literally says he conjured Star Destroyers. And when he said it, I thought like, oh, he just is like assuming that like it's like this thing, but there's more to it. As I watched the movie, I'm like, no, that's literally what they mean. It's like literally what they mean is that bow, but they just like he conjured it up with magic. And I was like, oh, that's not good.
Not a good movie, man.
Yeah, no.
Told you, like my buddy was coming at me. He's like, "So you think it's better than Attack of the Clones?" My Attack of the Clones had a Yoda fight.
Yeah,
Attack of the Clones had some great sound design in that space battle. Obi-Wan, the space battle, not the fight between him and Jango. That was kind of lame, but the space battle was fucking dope. I mean, it's a fantastic ride on Star Tours. Like it works.
Natalie Portman's hot. The arena was cool.
The arena was all right for me. The clones the attack when the clones actually when the clones are shooting down that Geonosis orb and it falls to the ground and the wind rushes and they're stuck in the gravel and there's that whole sequence is phenomenal. Like that is a badass sequence. That's out of me, it's the best battle sequence out of the prequels. That one shot. It's like that is a way different level of thinking than what was in the Phantom Menace in terms of fighting and choreography and just staging. Like that was fantastic. So, but Rise of Skywalker has none of that. So,
Yeah.
you know, it has some great trailer moments. Let's put it that way.
Well, when I watch, I'm able to. I mean, I'm to a point now where I'm able to watch Rise of Skywalker without all of the work I did behind to find out stuff. I'm able to almost like watch it just for what it is, and that's why there's like
Right.
lines at times. I'm like, I take all this baggage with me sometimes. I'm to a point now where I can almost just watch it for what it is. And Carrie Fisher, I'm sorry, Carrie Fisher's dead, but she was a human, and it sucks. But it's been 5 years now, and it's like, okay, Carrie's gone. And I watched the movie without any like, oh, poor Carrie. I just watched the movie as that's a Carrie Fisher performance now for what it is. It literally feels like a prank call. It feels like a fucking soundboard, and when you watch
Right.
it plays like a soundboard prank call, and
The
it feels
the
like they took Carrie Fisher and they're prank calling Daisy Ridley.
Also, if there's any moment out of the sequel trilogy that is 100% prequel in tone, it's that final shot where some random old lady appears out of nowhere. You know, who are you? I'm Rey Skywalker. Like, it was very Rick McCallum produced 1992 made for TV insert shot. There's things like, I'm like, this literally looks like it could have been out of.
Well, if you read my old reports on that, they also filmed it with a little girl, and they kept toggling back and forth in the edit between the two.
Would have been, well, a little girl running randomly around the desert and tattoo. It's a dangerous place tattooing. like, you can't. It's so weird, man. Like,
all I know is Luke was a huge pussy and he was fine. End of story. Kenobi didn't even need to be there.
like I could. It's just, it's not my film. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no.
But yeah, he literally did. When they're like, I conjured him, they're just appearing randomly from. They didn't spend years building these Star Destroyers with what resources,
Yeah.
with what mechanical. Like, look how many people it took to make anything in that fucking series, in that world. You know, like it's just, I don't know, man. It's hard because I was the biggest supporter of J.J. Abrams for so long, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that movie was the one where I'm like, oh, I see what everyone else saw. Now I get it, you know? Like, I was a big Michael Bay fan until Transformers 2, right? And you get to Revenge of the Fallen, and you're like, oh.
No, I mean, yeah, we won't harp on it for too much longer, but it's like one of those. It's just one of those things where when I look at it, I just know that it just needed more passes. It needed more time. It needed more,
at least a year.
It needed. I don't know if a year. I think 3 to 6 months would have definitely made all the difference for it. Looking at how Force Awakens changed, you know what I mean, and was like revised. But anyways, I don't know if you've been following the UFO Twitter stuff, but Green Street, aka Mean Street, deleted his Twitter account, and I saw a thing from him earlier, like he was on like Discord or something, and he was just saying that like everything in the UFO stuff that's been coming out in the last like year or whatever, it's all fake. So I
believe that.
That's why, you know.
Yeah. Hey, look, man. I told you I have a very specific, like, kind of like interest in UFOs, and it ties to everything Bob Lazar's talked about. That is the thing I'm most interested in. When we head into DNA and people are working with, I'm like, that's coast to coast call-in shit that eventually got co-opted by Alex Jones, which I believe, based on the reportings of Amy Martin, has much to do with white supremacy being coded as superior races or hidden races and stuff. Like, so Amy Martin's a scientist, neuroscientist, and a lover of UFO stuff, and so she reports on the paranormal, and she did a really good series of bits on trying to find where the right co-ops cryptology for their own coded messages and stuff, and this came from her accidentally getting having a person try to get on her show, and when she tried to do a little research on who they were, finding out that they were connected to a bunch of other stuff. But they go on Ancient Alien series on History Channel to talk about coded John Bircher messages and shit like that. So I just take that conversation at the smallest of seriousness. Although when you find it, I'm like, look, you may see something I don't, right? So there may be something to this, you know, but I don't buy it.
Well, and Jolie's still kind of hot. I'm just want to put that out there.
Angelina Jolie. I just think if they had ever remade V, like she would have been the perfect lizard person.
Yeah, I actually did watch the V remake for a while. Did you watch
Oh,
that?
they did do a V. Damn it! No, that was horrible.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, it had its moments where like it might have got cool, but
That was post Battlestar Galactica where they were trying to like, you know, serious
okay,
it all
so
up.
I was just sent a very very cool picture, and I think it needs to be shared immediately.
Kenny Baker and the Buff. Let's do it.
This is the next Star Wars movie that is coming out.
I'm Rob Fortuna.
You are Rob Fortuna. Oh shit. That I believe that came from Mark Hamilton.
That's hilarious.
I was cracking
Thank
up
you.
when I saw it.
It's me and Kitster hanging out, dude. I know, right?
There, like we got That's So Wizard. It's a shirt. It has like the fucking writing.
And it's got the serif fonts, which are just totally 90s, right? They don't do that anymore.
Excuse me.
Squeeze me, yes. We tried to get that shirt done. They weren't having it. Tales from the Sketchy Rob's T-shirt cup. Yes.
Good job. That is
Fantastic. Good color design too. I look at look, and it's orange and blue, which you know is the only way they make posters in Hollywood. So.
It's got the sun. It's got the frog dog. I like the frog dog included. Oh, I didn't notice that EV99 is wearing the Jar Jar shirt. That's fantastic. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, he's wearing it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to see a droid wearing a T-shirt. We've never had that in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Someone's making merch in the biggest merch universe in the world. Someone in the universe has to have merch. Like there has to be like someone selling bootleg Skywalker shirts, right?
It's kind of funny because in the weirdest way, he's all and Marshall Lucas is the Overlord. In the weirdest way, the Star Wars movies are almost anti-consumerism. The way that they like show toys, they're like wood carved thing, like Jen made her own, you know.
Yeah.
And then of course Disney did make that and sell that at Galaxy's Edge. But
Dude, Disney made a whole Toy Story movie about a kid making their own toy out of a spork and twine, and literally sold a giant sculpted spork and twine figure at Target
because they know that your kid is dumb and can't make shit, and you're gonna buy it because they're too stupid to make that.
That should be, you know how like they have a test to find out who's a Jedi? Like Sporky should be the test to find out if you have any creative talent whatsoever. Like if you can't do that, like off to being a police officer for you. Like
your kid relates more to the slow adult mermaid who comes to her with the fork than the one who can make them with the fork.
That feels like something that should be at Toy Story Land, where you let the kids in and then they sit there and they make their own Sporkies.
Yeah.
Right. Like I imagine the wire twine is something they're afraid kids will fucking choke on or something. But
I want them to have a box, and it's kind of like that one from Phantasm or Dune, and you put your hand in it, and above it says, "Is it a Woody?" And you have to put your hand in there and figure out, are you touching a Woody? And you can be like, I think I'm touching a Woody. It feels like there's a Woody in here. That's definitely a Woody. What do you think? Would that fly?
It's Rick McCollum's Woody.
Rick McCollum's Woody.
Yeah.
A Disney movie.
Now Shyamalan understands the real Star Wars.
Yeah. By the way, I think I told you already, but I showed my daughter The Sixth Sense. She wanted to watch a scary movie with ghosts in it, and we were going through and we saw The Sixth Sense was streaming. She's like, "Oh, as a little boy, I want to watch that." So I was like, "Okay." So we put it on, and literally I figured it out the first time I saw it pretty quick too, because they really do kind of telegraph it. But my 6-year-old daughter figured out that Bruce Willis was the twist, was the ghost in about 8-9 minutes into the movie, and she's and I was just like, yeah, I feel bad that M. Night fooled so many dummies back then into thinking that he was this like prolific twist master, and now he has to spend the rest of his life because somebody was dumb in the year 2000 and was like, "What?" at the end of that movie. When today my 7-year-old daughter figures it out in 7 minutes.
Yeah, I thought the turn in Unbreakable was his best turn because it wasn't like a big what. It was just the character realizing he is the villain in the story. Like
Yeah,
the character realized who he was because he had confirmation that his opposite existed.
right.
Like to me, I'm like, that's the smartest movie he's ever written was Unbreakable.
And I liked Signs. I thought Signs dealt with the UFO stuff in a
Yeah.
more realistic way than anybody had previously, for the most part.
Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous. You just throw water on them and they run away. But
Yeah,
I mean,
the Wizard
whatever.
of Oz out for the
Yeah,
end.
that's the one downside. Is like that's it. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, may as well have been love, like in Ghostbusters 2. We just have good feelings and the ghosts go away. Like fuck this shit.
That's at least that's at least a good
No,
measure.
Ghostbusters 2 is horrible. Like
No,
yes,
no, dude,
horrible.
they fucking use a Nest Advantage into
You are
a Nest
there.
Advantage in the
They have a
Statue
power
of
glove in the
Liberty.
Wizard. It's not great, bro.
Dude,
Like,
it was Nintendo in America.
you are
evil.
so you are so you're so conflicted.
You just hate the best things in life, which was Nintendo in America.
The only part of Ghostbusters 2 that was good was Bill Murray being on a paranormal show ripping people off. Like that was
funny.
legitimately fucking great. I would have been great if Dana Barrett had taken over his role in Ghostbusters, but he had quit because Bill Murray doesn't want to be a Ghostbuster in real life. So it's like he quit, and that's what he was doing like throughout most of the fucking this movie until the very end when he comes back as a Ghostbuster. Like I don't like breaking all the Ghostbusters up and making it so like they're not really Ghostbusters and no one believed it. Dumb. But like Venkman quitting because he's like, I fucking hate doing this shit. And I think it's all still a fucking ruse overall. And there haven't been many ghosts since that first movie. And most of it's just like there's a way to do that. But Murray said that when he got on set that the script had been changed significantly from what he had agreed story-wise to do. So, but yeah, Ghostbusters 2. So, sorry.
Yeah.
I love the Bobby Brown song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That
That doesn't fix everything.
No, you're right. No,
That's like saying if you love Double Back, that fixes Back to the Future 3 for Jason
You're right.
Bourne.
The Bobby Brown song doesn't fix everything. The Run DMC song does.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah, that's
You're conflicted by your emotions, Ward.
they put out I think they put out a new Ghostbusters trailer today. At least one I hadn't seen before. I think it came out today though. And it has Peter Venkman at the end of it, and it says something like "Do you miss us?" or something like that, and it's like from like the part where they probably show up. And yeah, I was pretty excited about it.
I was hoping we'd be through the pandy so I could go, but I'm not going to the theater. So
Not going.
it's a bummer.
Oh, I'm all boosted up, and that's the one I'm gonna go see.
I'm boosted up, and I still don't trust.
Yeah.
Look, I beat the odds, Jason. Like
No,
when it
same.
comes to getting sick, I'm like, I always beat the odds. So is it worth Ghostbusters? Nope.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping by the time Avatar 2 comes out.
Yeah.
But
Well,
the one guy who's looking forward to it.
that if that stuff about that Pfizer pill isn't bullshit, that's a really good.
It isn't bullshit.
Yeah. I know. No, I know. I mean, I'm with you. Everything about it sounds like it's 100%. I mean, I read about the actual study about it, about like how many people they gave it to, and it definitely looks great. It wasn't that big of a pool of people. But I think if they do it again and it's the same results, then I think we're at the end of it. And that's gonna be great.
How long will it take?
Yeah. Hopefully not long. For all of the shit, that you see that does get pushed forward in life in the name of capitalism, that is the one thing that is going to open capitalism right back up all the way. Full blown capitalism gonna go out and spend all the money I got in my pockets. You know what I mean, though? I mean, they're losing thousands of dollars off of me not taking my kids to Disneyland to overpay for macaroni and cheese every day.
One of my favorite things to do was
Mhm.
when a Marvel movie or some, mostly Marvel movies, my wife and I would go see. But every now and then we'd see something like a Sonic.
Something that she wanted to see.
Okay, how about this? When the Downton Abbey movie came out, which we're actually both fans of,
Yeah.
we have a Victorian-ish theater, right? They had dress up. Everyone dressed up that night, and we had wine and all sorts of little foods and stuff, and it was a lovely time out. When we'd see the Marvel movie, we'd go and get this nice pizza, and then we'd walk over to the movie theater and have a good time. And I miss doing that all the time. I miss it like as much as anyone else. It's like I don't not want to do that. Spider-Man Far From Home was my second favorite film of 2019. Like,
Yeah.
the whole internet was mad about it. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. And in 3D, it was brilliant. Mm-hmm. Like the illusions in 3D were so good, man. Like, I can't even, you go through the dead, rotten skull of Tony Stark and get covered in spiders in 3D. It's fucking great. But not getting COVID. Like, yeah. I mean, when my buddy, he's had long COVID for about a year now, still can't taste food. I mean,
yeah,
just to can't. I mean, it's like when you watch What We Do in Shadows, and it's like food just falls apart in your mouth, kind of shit. It's like, yeah.
I watched a couple more of those the other day, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, the season 3 was one of those ones where I was like, at first, I'm like, I think it may have gone a little boring, and then it flips around. Like, they are so good, so they're on point.
Yeah.
Fun show. Making vampires stupid was the best part of Buffy. When they got Spike, and even in the original film, when Paul Rubin shows up and is really dumb kind of thing, like like that kind of shit. That's the best part of the stuff. So making vampires stupid for me. I know you with Anne Rice, you very serious.
No. Okay. I mean, I like real vampires and dumb vampires.
They should be incredibly hard to kill, but also really stupid. Like, that's the trade. It has to be a trade-off. Like, you can't, like, when they look great, they're immortal, and they fucking sparkle. Then I'm like, all right, man, this is wish fulfillment here.
Do they ever go into like the Lost Boys vampires? Do they ever introduce that yet? Because that's
not yet, but they make so many references to 80s shit that they got to be saving it.
That's got to be like a gold mine of just the dumb 80s vampires.
They did have a vampire. There is a vampire hunter crew at one point.
Yeah.
That gets put together, and that's a fun little romp. But yeah, I wish they would have the Lost Boys, the Frog Brothers, like little kids that are out there.
Or I mean, vampires. Even just the guys with motorcycles that think they're cool. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like the 80s, the ones that are stuck in the 80s. Oh, that would be.
Yeah, today that wouldn't fly at all. And you'd just be like, what the fuck is this person with this mullet? And Well,
one of them has a girlfriend he's had forever, but she's human. Mm-hmm. And anytime they get together, he goes back to like his 70s mode, like glam rock kind of like nice stuff, just like he's an old person at that point.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They should get Corey Feldman on that show though. That's an actor that needs to work.
Right.
So Corey Feldman, What We Do in the Shadow season 4, do it.
Also a good pairing musically, but only visually and musically, with Crispin Glover. He's
Look, if it were me, man, I'd put Crispin Glover in everything. I'd put Crispin Glover in Toy Story. That would be great.
Does like Crispin Glover just not do stuff, or does no one work with him? Is it like, you know what I mean?
I imagine he lives in the house from Fight Club.
Yeah.
Right? Like he lives in that Fight Club house, and he's not even paying rent. Like, he just shacked up in some house in Detroit, and it's filled with xylophones and and he sleeps in a tub and shit. And he's making soap. Like,
yeah.
For all I know, he has a Gucci. He lives in Beverly Hills,
because you would almost think that like people would just want to work with George McFly, like people like around our age who are making movies now that are controlling Hollywood. You would think they'd be like, yeah, I want to work with George McFly, like, constantly. and I'm just kind of surprised. Maybe
Yeah, they
just
show up looking for George McFly, but they get Clowny Clown guy.
yeah,
They get the rat guy, right? Like the rat. What was that
yeah.
movie with the rats? Willard. Yeah,
Willard.
yeah.
Was that Ron Howard's brother? Was that
I don't remember who directed.
no the boy? Oh
Oh, the
no,
boy.
I'm thinking of a rat named Ben. I'm thinking of a
Yeah,
rat named
yeah.
Ben.
No, I'm talking Willard's like 2003, two
Uh,
ish, one ish, around
oh,
there.
there was like an earlier version of Willard though.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, it was
yeah.
the old. And by the way, that what was that movie I sent you the other day? That you should watch.
You
Uh,
sent me three of them, man.
yeah, I'm trying to remember what was in that list of movies, but one of them is what they based a lot of the Russian one. Damn it, what was it called? Stalker.
Oh
Stalker
yeah,
is
the
what
game
they
Stalker.
no
Chernobyl.
the movie Stalker. The movie
Oh,
Stalker.
that thing about the game
It-
Stalker.
it-
It's like, yeah, I like that when they
no,
go to Chernobyl. And, oh, right.
yeah, no, the movie Stalker is what they took a lot of stuff from for Loki, where they end up in that world, in that like trash world. I think they pretty much stole that from Stalker. And Stalker, by the way, is like it's a slow ass movie with long shots and shit, but it's like the film is designed like I don't think I think like two people could watch Stalker and have totally different experiences with it because it's about what you take with you and how you decode the meaning in the movie. The director doesn't put any there, but leaves
You
it
ever watch?
open
You ever watch IT Crowd?
a little
The
bit,
show.
a
There's
little
a
bit. I've seen a
sequence
little
where they
bit.
move their smoking the smoking areas of the workplace outside further and further away, and eventually they're all like in a Russian movie, where they're the proletariat, and
Is it?
they're
Yeah,
they're trying to give in to the regime because they can't win it, and they're out in the snow, they're just so far away.
yeah.
It's very clever,
Yeah, yeah. Everybody, they Stalker looks like a Nine Inch Nails video at times, and it's so bleak and dark, and they put people in such fucked up places to film it that most of the people died who were involved in it because they got
Oh no.
cancer and shit because they were like in sludge downstream from a paper factory and stuff. But it's beautiful, visually. It is a beautiful movie.
My buddy lives in Russia, and he's always sending me like photos of like from his apartment window, and I'm
Mhm.
like, man, I'd love to place a Silent Hill where he lives. Like it's quite gorgeous, and like it's not haunting, but it has that air of mystery to it.
Yeah,
It's like the architecture with the environment and the lighting has a true air of mystery to yeah. It's not, unfortunately, every time America puts Russia on screen, it looks like Police Academy 5 Mission to Moscow. Like,
oh, that's a good
like,
movie. It's a really good movie.
yeah, the worst of the police academies. But yeah, so whatever, man.
Yeah.
I'll check them out. I'm in the middle of rewatching Boardwalk Empire, so I'm a little, but I'll definitely get to it.
Yeah, and then I also recommend. I'm just gonna bring it up because I do what I want. Gozu is by the dude who did Ichi the Killer, that Maike
Yeah.
director, and Gozu takes these like urban legends from where he's at and has this one character have to go through it all. And boy, is the ending of Gozu, oh man, it's a fucking ride. The movie looks like shit for the most part, but it's fucking brilliant. And then Martyrs is a movie where once you think you got it figured out, you don't, and it just keeps doing that to you, and it's brutal. And I would say Martyrs is a movie everyone should watch once, and probably only once. And Stalker, that you talked about, and Dogtooth. Dogtooth is fucking pretty rad too. Dogtooth is like this dad has his kids, his adult children, like in a bunker, not a bunker, but like a compound, and he just tells them lies. Like he'll say like up means down. So if they ever escape, they won't know
Yeah.
how to function and they have
Yeah,
to
that's
stay.
basically my childhood, though. I'm not in anything. Like,
But they
bro, you have no idea the mind games my parents played with me. So,
so Dockies, you're gonna love it. It's really good.
yeah. Like my wife was like, I got really great. There's a great pandemic documentary on Netflix. I'm like, we're still in it. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. I'm gonna go watch prohibition gangster shit. You know, I don't need this. You know, when I get done with that, I'm gonna watch. I've been watching. I started Arcane on
Oh yeah, you
Netflix.
told me that was really
Fantastic.
yeah.
Fantastic. Look, the story's cool. It's cool, right? What I like so far about the story, especially the first episode, is it's not event driven. It's just character stuff. Like you're really hanging out with these characters, kids and stuff. But visually stunning. Like they managed to get concept art to move.
Okay.
I mean, and it's the lighting, it's living concept art in CGI, but it's fantastically animated. It's beautiful, and I look at it, I'm like, this is how. I mean, all these Star Wars cartoons need to look like this, man. Like everything, like needs to start taking cues. And the crazy part is, we were having a discussion not too long ago about the Jedi Fallen Order and the volume. I was like, at some point, it's all going to be since Stagecraft is essentially Unreal 5. That these elements that are made for the show will be in the game, vice versa. Like they can be used across platforms because the system tessellates and scales up and down. When you look at Arcane, this is like what a PS5 or 6 artistically are hand painted, you know, Darksiders, World of Warcraft, but like a super high painted. Was the Old Republic game has that hand painted look too, right? You know, like it's Warcraft, it's lower, but it's not high. But imagine super high def, like Demon Souls remake high def.
Okay.
Take these assets, put them in a game verbatim. It's because you got hand painted like glassware, but it's like it can rotate in 3D, you know, but it still has all the imperfections of like lasso tool selections and paintbrushes. Fantastic, stunning series, man. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was looking at that like, oh man, this for Star Wars any day of the week.
Right. Okay. Making sure that wasn't more information coming in. But yeah, well, I gave you guys some fucked up movies to watch. Rob gave you something that sounds like it's beautiful to watch. And
yeah, we're a little different, like in this aspect. I'm not against indie brutalist cinema. It's just that, like, There Will Be Blood. Yeah, you need decompression time, right? And I haven't been able to get any decompression time since January 2020. Like, I need the world to chill out a little bit, then I can go back to like Green Knight's tough enough, where you're just like, all right,
yeah,
this is gonna get rough.
I'm the kind of weirdo who, I guess, if I went to war or something, thank God I never had to, but if I did, I would be the guy who couldn't come back and adjust, because I'm like, when I'm going through a bad time, I can't watch Friends when I'm going through a bad time. Like if that shit came on, I'm like, fuck this phony bullshit. I turn into Holden Caulfield. So when I'm in a bad place, that's where I'm like, yeah, let's listen to. I'm Jack in Lost when he's listening to Sentless Apprentice.
It's not quite that way, because my wife was like, "But you're watching Boardwalk Empire. It's got throat slitting and head sculpting," and I'm like, "Yeah, but it's got a bunch of jokes and music and shit in between it. Like it, you know, it's got this balance." And I just think sometimes, like when you're watching Ichi the Killer, it's like there's no balance. That's what you're going. You're going right down that. No, it's like good. She wanted to see Robert Pattinson in something, because the last time she saw him in a movie was the Twilight movies. Okay. So I'm like, all right, we'll watch. Was it Good Time? Like, yeah, not fun, bro. Fantastic performance, but what a bad time. Yeah.
Ichi the Killer to me is like gratuitous. Gozu, though, it has a sense of humor about it, because it's almost like, like I said, it's urban legends. So it's like, why is titty milk falling into that guy's food right now while he's eating? Why is there a guy with a giant severed head of a cow?
It's lice, Michael.
You know what I mean? But it just keeps getting more
Michael.
Ridiculous. Fuck it, you're not gonna watch it anyway. I'm gonna spoil it for you. At the very end of it, is a birth in reverse, and it's fucking amazing. So the whole movie, he's looking for his criminal crime boss, who everybody wants killed, and he's supposed to go kill his boss, right? And he can't find his boss, and he meets this like beautiful woman, and it turns out his boss was hiding in the beautiful woman's vagina the whole time. And he has he's reverse birth at the end, and they all become friends, and they just walk out into the sunset like ha 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 at the end. It was the best. I was like, I don't know what I just fucking saw, but I loved it.
He is batshit crazy.
It's fucking great. It is great.
Yeah.
It
Even
was,
13 Assassins, which is some go, it's like a Kurosawa. I'm like, it's not a Kurosawa film. It's a heightened reality film on all levels, but it's still cool. It's just that's a brutal film too. What they when you see the brutality done to that woman, and then a bunch of other shit that happens in that film, it's just like, I mean, one of them's a walking god. Like, it's not you know, like literally. So,
yeah, that's why when it comes to martyrs, like that one is probably is very fucking hardcore. And but you know, like how there were those movies like I don't know, like the, you know how there was like the Saw inspired movies that tried to get grosser than Saw, but they like ultimately like were just gross. There was like not really anything there.
I remember I didn't watch any of them.
Okay, well, it's like imagine if somebody with who could make with a brain and who could really fuck with you decided, you know what, I'm gonna show these fucking little kids how you do it, and then went and did it. And
Scream.
And it's no. We're like imagine if Hostel was made efficiently, and it's hard to explain without
it's not Hostile.
No. I actually like really liked how Hostel started off as like the buddy movie. Hey, we're some buddies in Europe, and I was like, oh, I like kind of like where they were taking that, and then it gave it more of a sense of humor. But
yeah, they were trying to go for that American Werewolf in London, and then didn't have the talent to back it up.
So. But then it just goes into a lot. But anyways, yeah, that was a movie though. I had to go see it, or I had to watch it, and as I was watching it, I was like, oh man, this is just like whatever. But then when I thought I had the movie figured out, I kept not having it figured out, and that I appreciate after what M. Night did, and they figured out that movie in 2 seconds.
Look, there was no mystery to Airbender, and look how bad that was too, right?
Yeah, so how do you fuck that one up? I was thinking about that the other day because after I watched it, I was like, you know, M. Night and Kathleen Kennedy, they had a long, good standing relationship. They made a lot of things together, and I was like, part of me, and he at one point I believe wrote Indiana Jones, one back when Lucas ran things, and probably because of Kathleen Kennedy that they ended up not making, and it was like I kept going like, I wonder if that guy's ever gonna play in Star Wars, but then I remember Last Airbender, and I'm like, he shouldn't. I don't think he should.
Bro, his sequel to Unbreakable or whatever. You know?
The secret sequel, I enjoyed that.
Right, but the actual sequel
I didn't see though. See, yeah,
and I was super excited. I'm like, this will be like a low key different, and just so I don't know, man. Yeah, that's a weird dude. That is a weird dude. I have another question too. This is something that because I'm it's gonna seem like I'm picking on Asian directors, which I'm not. I'm talking about artistic directors. So a problem, one of the complaints about the Marvel movies and a lot of modern cinema, like blockbuster cinema, is that you don't see the director, right? Like it's like a studio-driven thing. You don't really see the director. Anyone could have made it. It's just got this bland, generic look to everything, right? Which I think kind of people just kind of like poorly rewording Patrick Williams, why the movies are lit poorly, you know. Video from years back. But I started thinking before the internet was a big deal. Paramount or Universal hired Ang Lee to direct the Hulk. Ang Lee just coming off Joy Luck Club and a bunch of other fucking cool shit.
Oh,
And
Dre Luck Club. Let's let that guy make Hulk.
right, like, but we got this artistic vision, and then he comes on, and it's very an artistic comic booky movie that does not resonate with anyone aside from some, like, his take was the comic book panels. It comes out, flips around, it's comic book panels. Like, I thought that was cool, but like, Rob's in the minority in that opinion, you know.
No, I thought it was cool. You should have used it in a music video, maybe. It was like it wasn't. I didn't think it was like movie length cool.
Whole 2 hour plus film, right? And plus the themes are very, like, it's the theme of the father, and it's all this high level weird stuff, and he's fighting poodles, and it's like you get this director who does something completely different, and then is given carte blanche, right, to do whatever, and then it doesn't seem to fit with the material in any way. Does that make sense? Like, in a sense, you know, like, this is where a lot of my friends were like, what if David Lynch had directed Return of the Jedi? I'm like, that would have been way bad idea. Like, like, would not have been a good idea.
Well, you saw what happened when he directed Dune, and that's kind of the answer. I still would have. I would love to go to the alternate dimension and see it, just to know, like, what is it. But yeah, I wouldn't.
I feel that way with Eternals, that you're now seeing an artistic vision from a director. The script is studio driven still, so that's another issue. That's more the issue I have is with that than the artistic driven. But Ridley Scott famously said, "You're the director, you get all the credit." So, like, even if he goes and he makes certain everyone gets the credits for the things they did, at the end of the day, you're the director, you get blamed. You get the credit or you get blamed. Doesn't matter. Yeah. People don't go, oh, the DP on the Rise of Skywalker. People go, JJ fucked it up. Like, that's it. That's the answer. Yeah. So I just wonder, how many times has it worked where someone who was really an indie artistically driven director has been handed a franchise of any sort, and it's worked.
You're forgetting the indie video. Go on.
Yeah, but it's worked to, like, great success. Like, it's actually been something, because I mean, maybe Nolan might be the closest I can think of, right? Like, but even then, I don't know if you put Memento and Insomnia in, like, indie films. They were $20 million budgets, you know, like, it's not quite the same thing. So
yeah, like I don't know, like, I feel like when you really consume a bunch of, like, real indie cinema, and you look at anything that makes it through the studio system and just, like, feeling like they are the same thing in any way, they're just, like, so not,
right,
you know. Like, I don't know. Did you ever see The Piano Teacher?
Yeah, I want to say I have, actually.
Like, this piano teacher, and she likes to be beat by her student. And it's like it's good, but it's like you go, like, watch a movie like that, and then you try to go, like, oh, like, you know.
I can think of one. I can think of one. I know I just answered my own question. The Wachowskis. So Bound is legitimately an indie film. You look at it, looks indie. It's a super low budget.
What year was Bound?
98.
So I think that was in that magical window where indie things could come out through mainstream means, and that was kind of like the end of it, though.
Yeah, my buddy was trying to tell me The Crow. I'm like, The Crow wasn't a financial success. It didn't have giant resonance. It's a cult film. Like, I love it, but it's a cult film. Yeah. The Matrix is a giant success.
Crow had a successful soundtrack. Is what people remember more than the fucking movie, to be real about it. But
and I love the movie. I'm not, but yeah, I wonder, because then it's like, okay, how much of that is going to translate into a Star Wars film, and can it? The artistic vision thing, like, I just wonder, I mean, we're gonna find out probably, so it'll be interesting experiment. We'll get something amazing, or I can't see Chloé Zhao's thing. Where is it? They're hiding it behind the studio. It's like, I just wonder if it's even possible, like, because the amount of coverage you have to. Okay, coverage is a big deal. So Paul Thomas Anderson, when he's making a movie, he shoots everything in camera. They get what they need when they shoot the
PTA is what we call
the PTA. Yeah. He gets what he needs. He doesn't, because he's like, too many options in digital. Don't want to deal with it. It's a headache. So they just get everything they need in the camera. Whatever. Fine when you're working at a smaller budget. and they're not expecting much. But when you try to bring that sensibility to, say, I don't know, Solo, right, where you're not getting coverage, you're getting the things you specifically want. And Kathleen Kennedy's like, where's your coverage? Where's your alternate takes? Where's your whatever? And it's like, we didn't do any of that because we didn't want you to be able to change our movie. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I just wonder, I don't know if Eternals is the best example, even though Chloe Zhao's already made the film, because no one had any idea what to expect of that universe going into it.
Yeah.
It's its own separate deal. So, like, Star Wars, whatever Republic era you want, it could be the filthy Republic, like it could be whatever Republic era you want. At the end of the day, people go, "Oh, it's Star Wars." They're not gonna know too much. 100 years, 1,000 years, they're not gonna get a lot of it. They'll see it and move on. So, whether it feels or doesn't feel like Star Wars will be the defining trick.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you just reminded me of, like, I don't know, a little while ago now. It's been about a year or so, more than a year. Went on a date because it was before the pandemic with this girl, and she's like talking about how much she loves Tim Burton and style and stuff like that. And I literally killed this whole date by, as we started to talk, he's like talking about like Outsiders and stuff like that, and I was just like, Tim Burton makes the most inside movies ever. Like at the end of everything is restored, and order is restored back to the way it should be, and it's just like, it was this conversation, but I could tell she wanted to wear black lipstick and look pretty, and I'm cool with that. But by saying that and putting it in that way, it's like these studio directors, people who really do survive in the studio system for years, they're not like really making shocking movies that are anti-system in any way whatsoever.
And The Matrix isn't the best example either, because it didn't have a pre-existing existence, or it didn't exist before the film in its matrixy form. So no, I'm talking about coming to something. I mean, Tim Burton coming to Batman is still not an indie guy coming to Batman, because even Pee-wee's Big Adventure is a studio film. Yeah. It's not a small little indie film. Like, it wasn't Raising Arizona that that was being put together by a theater chain that wanted to produce films. Yeah, it was a Jim Jacks or whatever. Like, it's not. I'm talking about like would be a great example. Like Amelie, I guess, would be something closer to that, right? Where the guy from Amelie getting like Wonder Woman or some shit. Like it sounds interesting on paper, and then you see it. Look, that the guy who did the Catwoman movie was he a music video? He was just a music Pitois,
probably.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I don't know. Like it. Luckily, not her first time through the studio system, right? If she does a Star Wars film, so there's already a working relationship and an understanding and an expectation. Yeah. Of what is and isn't sort of possible.
Well, I think we are like an indie movie on this show, and if you want to get the payoff, you have to stick to the end. And we're not going to just make it all easy on you. We're going to talk about films about people getting their skin ripped off, about titty milk falling in people's foods. Like, that's how it goes on this show. But I forgot to.
We're going to argue over white robes.
Over white robes,
and why I don't want a bunch of heroes wearing white robes. If you can think why, like.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I'm cool with Jedis in white robes and flaming cross lightsabers. What's wrong with that?
They're so going to take that out of context.
No, but I keep meaning to say, I think Indiana Jones wrapped filming a couple days ago. I keep forgetting.
Serious?
Yeah. And there was this clip, by the way, that was going on. I uploaded days ago that was going on Facebook. They put their watermark on it so you could read where it comes from.
Like there. John. Speaking of vampires on motorcycles.
Yeah, but more motorcycle.
I like the guy at the end.
Ooh. Oh,
Making sure he's right in camera. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's very he's like a he probably studied mime to be able to like do that. Um,
3 years not Sperry Farm. Scary Farm.
her
3
outfit
years
has
nights.
um um Phoebe Waller Bridge or whatever her name is has some pretty fucking Marion vibes in the clothes. It look like to me a bit of the Raiders vibes in the outfit. But
Yeah.
more it's footage that's out there. It's another motorcycle chase. But yeah, I think they might be done filming.
80-year-old
Um,
man's outrunning motorcycles, huh?
but the question, yeah, the no, but the question
Okay.
is did they just finish the question I have because I was told this and then I asked some questions, but I haven't heard back because people are traveling and stuff, and
Okay.
probably why, anyways. And so I don't know if they're going back to Pinewood to shoot a bunch more or if they are done. But boy, do they have a long time to finish this movie now if they are done.
Thanks, Patty Jink. No,
Yeah.
I do wish it were Vespas though. Like I just when Indiana Jones Vespa race makes more sense when you're 80. Like if he was a grown, he was a young man, no, but when you're 80, you get into a Vespa race. Like,
I remember in grad school, my advisor's like, "Want to buy a Vespa?" I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Want to buy a Vespa?" She's like, "I want a Vespa at Coachella." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good."
someone was super high. I was like, win a Vespa at Coachella. And they're like, let's do it.
Yeah, she won it. She
And now you're
won
like, what do I do with this? And why did my tax bracket increase?
it.
Fuck.
But yeah, all right. Well, I think we're gonna call this one. I think we've done it all. I think we've covered the day's news. We talked about something that's probably not out there and known. Um, and we, like I said, talked about titty milk, which is what I am all about. Titty milk. Whenever you watch that dude's movies, there's always titty milk in it. That guy loves titty milk.
There's a new wards in town,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's High Republic.
we we should. I showed Ichi the Killer to a girl once, and she broke down in tears in the middle of it.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
horrible.
yeah. It was like 2004 or something like that. I was like, you gotta see this movie.
Oh.
Maybe this was like 2006 because I think it got it off Netflix and it was like mailed. This is like original Netflix and chill. It was like it got mailed to me in the red envelope.
Yeah,
Like,
I signed up for that the day
yeah,
it launched.
yeah. I
Netflix
was
when you had to
thrilled
because
about
I
it.
just didn't want to pay fucking late fees anymore.
I used to just rent. I had like the 12 movies at a time thing, and I would just rent all of the movies that I ever wanted to see and put them on DVD fives, DVDR them, copy them, and then send them the disc back. That was
Yeah,
college. That's college
yeah.
times.
Yeah, they're aware.
Oh,
We
they
went
are
right to
aware.
streaming,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't have to do that.
I
Yeah.
just feel like I helped push in the new era. I got us where we were supposed to be. Now I pay the same amount of money and I just have access to everything. They're just ripping it for me now. Pretty much, anyways. But oh, by the way, Green Knight is on Vudu for $9.99 in 4K. So if anybody wants to see it, I rented it for twice that one time. So definitely worth checking out for $10 in 4K and not getting COVID out doing it. But yeah. All right. So tomorrow is Wednesday. All right. Yeah.
What are we doing for Friday?
For
Disney Plus Day.
the Disney Plus Day. The good news is my kids don't have to go to school. So
Do we want to wait through it's all over and then just do do the big show? Do it later?
No, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you want to do?
It starts at like 6 a.m. And I don't my time anyways. Yeah. So it's either like late for you or early for you, however you want to look at it. And I'm kind of want to be up for it in case it's really cool. And then if it's not, I'll just be really mad and go back to sleep. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to figure that one out. Because I mean, I could either do like if you're not up for it, I could do like a live thing and just
Yeah, but then those shows
it.
you always run into when I'm up. So like it's just weird. It's like then we end up hitting that 4-hour mark. I don't think you have to do it right when the shit launches because if it's that morning, we can do the show at the normal time.
Mhm.
I just need to get up early to see everything before we do the show.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
my thing.
in my estimation, I will probably just end up being on because I will probably not be able to be sleeping while that shit happens, and it will probably all of it will probably end up amounting to about 5 minutes of stuff that you need to watch, probably, or 30 minutes at the most, probably 15
As a
minutes.
guy who sat through 3 hours of DC fandom, I can assure you that's true.
Yeah, I'm well, because we don't need to talk about how they're turning Mary Poppins into the first 3D Disney Plus series. Like we just need to talk about Star Wars stuff.
She's the first meta series. She actually comes into your house and ARs around your fucking living room. She's like, I'm pretending to sweep because you're a lazy fuck. Like what?
I'll come. It'll work for me.
I see a foreseeable future where like you get like a drone that can do your dishes, but when you put the glasses on, it's like a hot chick or something.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not washing dishes. I'm washing boobs.
Yeah.
We just made the best VR thing ever. You're not washing dishes. Wet boobs VR. It's a dishwashing. And I don't know how you deal with knives and not cutting your hands, but that's what our development is going to deal with.
Some guys like it.
Wow, I'm feeling queasy, like I'm losing a lot of blood touching these wet boobs.
Feel a little woozy.
Yeah. All right. Well, we need to go. We need to go and start working on this VR game. I'm ready to get going right now.
Oh, you're playing the Star Wars one?
Actually, I haven't tried it yet. My kid just loves. I think
you planned on doing a whole thing with that. Like it disappeared. You must have just played it, and you're like, nah, I haven't started yet.
Nah, I've been in a thing where I can't get into VR at the moment. Like or not get into it, but I just haven't like been able to like get into putting the headset on and shit. And but it is on the things to do. That's for sure. But all right, everybody, we will see everybody tomorrow at the same bat time, same bat channel.
It's not about spaceships.
Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show.
It's not about spaceships.